Awesome. Hey guys, welcome to the podcast today. We are joined by Candy Wheeler
Hey, hey.
and of course Sprout.
Hey.
And today is awesome because today is our first time live streaming on YouTube. So you guys can go over to YouTube and listen to us live. And of course, it's going to be there for all of eternity.
Love it.
So cool.
Awesome. So glad to have you on today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm super excited to be here.
And Sprout, want to kick it off?
Oh, wow. What comes first?
a
I was
good
waiting
question.
for the opening theme to kick in.
Yeah, I was waiting for the intro music so we can start the dance party.
I know it. We're still working on that part. We were talking about that earlier about having the announcer introduce us and the music comes.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Boom, in this corner. Something like that, but we haven't got there yet.
We'll get there.
Soon.
I guess
Soon enough.
I guess it wasn't a priority. Okay, I guess just us talking can work also.
For sure.
Can work as well. That's pretty good.
We have some great stuff to say, so.
Yeah, thought that would kind of fill in. So today's really about your journey, about what you went through to arrive at your place here today, and this amazing things that you offer. Now, when we met, I got on your Instagram page and started looking at all the retreats and the workshops you do, and we just met at the Abundant Space, and we had just a nice time meeting, and I didn't know each other, but then once we exchanged information and Instagrams, and I began to look at the things you were doing before I met you that day. I thought, oh my gosh, she does so many things. This is fantastic.
Yeah, for sure. Well, yeah, retreats, coaching programs, and workshops, events, and such like that. We have all of that, and it's really grown into that. It hasn't always been what it is now.
Yeah, I was thinking about what it took you to get to the spot where you can share the things you do these days.
Yeah, that's such a great, point to make, because I was just sharing with Dan earlier, like I went from having one retreat, my first ever retreat, and having no idea what I was doing really, like having never thrown an event ever, and then just diving into feeling this pull to create a retreat and following that pull. And from there, going from one retreat that year to hosting 3 retreats this year.
Wow, and you did it.
One of them being internationally in Bali. So,
man, see, that's the part that intrigues me is following the pull. Is that you got this intuition, this pull to create this retreat, and you pay attention to it, and you followed through and made it happen.
Yeah.
And there's quite a bit of growth and personal journey
Yeah.
to get to the spot, to even listen to that intuition,
Yes.
listen to the pull,
Yes.
and then have the faith that it could be created, and not let all the doubt and all the fear and all the reasons why not block you out completely.
Yes. And I love that you brought that up, because there has to be something that takes place before that. I think people just get this idea when they see people doing maybe what they want to be doing. They kind of think like, oh, they're just confident, or, oh, they can just do that.
Yeah, look how great they are. Wow.
They've always been that way.
They're extraordinary in some type of way.
I'm not like that. I can never do that.
Right. And exactly. And that comes up for a lot of people, but what they don't realize is the journey that happens before being able to follow that intuition, that pull, like you said. And for me, there was a point in my just life where I was realizing that my whole life was on autopilot. I was just moving through the motions and following this version of success that I didn't know where it came from. I was just checking off all the boxes, going to school, getting a great job. And honestly, I was in what I thought would be my dream job. I was a wellness professional in corporate, and I thought I would retire from there. I honestly thought that would be the place that I stayed at. And what I realized when I was in it is like, wow, this is supposed to be my dream job, and I'm still so unfulfilled. And I felt so guilty because so many people were like, you have the best job ever. What do you mean? And I'm just like, this isn't it. There's more for me. And I knew there was more for me. But what I realized was I didn't even know what even brought me joy, because I kept following just what I thought would be someone else's idea of success.
Okay, so here we go. Now we get into the good stuff.
Yeah.
So now you know you need to make a change from what should have been from the outside perspective, your amazing dream job.
Yeah.
So how do you go about finding what fulfills you? How do you give yourself that permission? What sort of things were you able to engage in that allowed you to kind of think about what the next step is.
Yeah, I love this. I just got a question about this the other day. Like, what had you even get to the space where you can bet on yourself and follow your dream? And for me, like, what had me being able to follow what brings me joy and follow my excitement? And for me, it was, I had just realized there were so many things I kept saying I wanted to do, but I never got to them. I just kept saying, oh, that would be nice if I could travel, or, oh, if that would be nice if I could do that thing, whatever it was, but I would never get to it. It would just be like later. And then later, and then later. And so I finally got to the space where I'm like, wow, there's been so many things that I've been wanting to do that I have not done yet. And so for me, it was this year, I'm just going to go after the things that I desire to do, and I'm just going to do them. I'm not even going to think about it. I'm just going to do them. And so the first thing that came up was like just going on a cruise with my friends, and then it was like going on this hike and doing this, and suddenly I was skydiving, and then like so many things. So many things. And then I took my first solo backpacking trip to Europe when I really, really found that I really love to travel. And I didn't even know that before. Actually, I didn't even think that I would even want to travel. I was like, hang on, let me have all of my successes, all of my life together first, and then I can do that maybe later. But when I committed to saying yes to those things that really I was just following my excitement. Like if it felt like it would excite me, then I would say yes to it.
Wow. And that brings more excitement. It just seems like by you doing the one thing that you wanted to do and having the confidence and the belief to go and do it, it almost like reinforced you. I can do this.
Yep.
And then more can come out more freely, and you can do it again.
Yes. And so when I got to that position where I had the idea to launch this like retreat, when I got that, nudge, it was almost like, of course I'm going to follow that, because I've been already doing it. And so I think that's the point that people miss. Like they get to that nudge and then they're like, how did you do that? But I had been saying yes to the things that would bring me excitement and bring me joy. So my visceral experience, like my body knew to say yes to it, even though it was really, really scary and I had no idea what I was doing.
It's like you were saying yes to some smaller things that allowed you to say yes to bigger things.
Yes.
Also.
Exactly. And I could not have said yes to the bigger thing if I didn't say yes to the littler things. Yeah. Totally. 100%. Love that.
Where was your first retreat?
My first retreat was actually in Scottsdale, Arizona. It was a weekend retreat here locally. And from there, we decided to take it up north into Sedona. So the following year, it was in Sedona.
Okay. Beautiful.
Yeah.
What space did you hold it at in Sedona?
We actually had just an Airbnb to ourselves. We had a home that I had rented on Airbnb, and we're actually going back there for the second time, January 10th through the 12th.
Nice. So you liked it.
We loved it.
Same location?
Same location.
Oh, see?
It's a really big home, and it has like these amazing glass windows that have a beautiful view of the Red Rocks. And it's such great energy there. So supportive for our work.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, we're definitely open to a share on that location too.
Yeah, I'll send it to you guys. I'll send you the link. It's a great location, and it's it fits about 20 people. And so for us, we fill it. I mean, we filled it last year. We'll fill it this year very quickly. This year, it's already 50% full, and we just released marketing.
That's exciting.
Yeah. So I'm just super excited to go back to that space and do the warrior work.
Outstanding.
Describe that. What's that all about?
What's the warrior work?
Yeah.
What does that entail? Right?
I love that because, some like many of you guys have retreats. There's so many retreats out there. They are all unique in their own way. There's nobody that do what you guys do, essentially. And there's nobody that does what we do on Warrior Women retreats. And for us, it's really not, there's nothing like it out there. When I say that, it's really like we open it up, we open the space. I'll just paint a picture because I think that's easier. And then we can talk about the warrior work that goes into it. we open it up with a cacao ceremony, welcome ceremony, and breath work. So we use a plant medicine cacao.
Great opener, the heart opening
Yes.
experience.
And
breath
that
work, the
drops us
connecting.
right in. Yeah.
That's a beautiful start.
Right into the experience and breath work, and we really open it up, and it's very reflective because it's at the beginning of the year. We get to look back on the previous year and see what we've been through and see what we desire to create for the following year. We get to kickstart, like this year 2020, you know, it has so much great energy to it, and we get to kickstart the year in this type of energy that is very, very, like, you know, just momentum driving, creating. And so, but the women get to really reflect on the year previously, and many of them hadn't before that day. They hadn't really taken a look. Last year, there were so many tears just in the first ceremony because they hadn't realized how much they went through the previous year to get to that space, to even be in that circle.
It's almost like you're getting them open to receive what comes next.
Yes.
There's so much to take in this weekend.
Yes.
But first, we're going to do this heart opening cacao. We're going to do the breath work, reflect on our prior year, and get them to just totally embody that and experience and feel that, and then open up to the next step.
Yes.
Because what's the next thing you do after that experience? What comes next?
Yeah, that is exactly. So we had that night is very calming because the cacao is so nurturing. You know, it's like very holding and it's nurturing. And so we just do like a meditation. We have dinner together. It's very, very soft the first night. Like we drop in, and then the next day we have we open the day up with some movement, some yoga, some warrior movement. And so
we love that too.
Yeah.
This is sounding good.
Yeah.
I know.
Is this only for women?
I know. Just don't take it.
I know. I'm like, okay, maybe we'll do a co-ed collaboration one day.
Sounds fantastic.
But yeah, there was, so we had one of my clients, she actually teaches, like movement, and her movement is very unique. It's a yoga combination with mindful martial arts is what she calls it. And so there was very just warrior energy. And so we with the cacao ceremony, it's like surfaces everything, you know, brings everything up to the surface. What's there that needs to be there with the cacao, it gets moved, it gets circulated. And then so from there we get to move the energy in the physical realm, and we get to actually it was like serious, some warrior movement. We were like 2 hours just there was super powerful.
I would fit right in there.
Yeah,
it was. You'd fit right in there with
I could probably dress up real pretty and just blend in.
We'll have to have you. We'll have to open it up, because there are a lot of men that just see the videos and they're like, oh my gosh, how can I come to this? But yeah, it's very, very powerful, that day. And then we actually have some creative workshops as well. We had Melanie, which she actually was just on the podcast recently. Melanie Peralta lead us through some creativity. She had us write our own songs and write our own moving mantras, and that was very challenging for the women to really tap into that source of creativity, because we shut ourselves down so quickly from tapping into that creative space because of the fear of judgment, fear of criticism. And what's so crazy about that is what happens if you actually allow yourself to go there? It's actually so much fun and beautiful.
Do you guys share your songs?
Yes, we sang them. There was rapping, singing.
No way.
Yes, she made us.
Good.
She made us sing it and rap it. And for some of us, it was super uncomfortable. And some of the women that actually had beautiful voices, they had singing voices, they had been suppressing their singing voices. They just don't even tap in. And it was so beautiful.
Yeah, sharing their gifts, and but that inner, I could just see them going inside to kind of almost move through their emotions and their feelings to create a song like that. They're having to tap in to their experiences and reflect on their life and how they feel and their heart space to take that and then bring it out into to words, into a sharing,
and adding a melody
and
to
then
it.
add the melody and make a song. That's really deep.
Then sing and perform it.
And then perform it.
Because do you know that that's going to be a part of it when you're writing the song, that we're all going to share the songs after?
We had no idea.
You had no idea?
We had no idea.
Was it like a ceremonial sharing? Every person did it?
Yes.
Because that could take a while with 20 women.
Yes,
It's like an all-day event.
you would think, but it was the songs that we wrote were 1 to 2 lines tops.
Oh, okay.
So it wasn't like a full-on song. It was just a mantra.
Oh,
so
okay.
so and then the moving. So she calls them moving mantras. So we make a move by the melody.
That's
Oh,
perfect
yeah,
because
yeah.
you don't have to tap into your singer-songwriter persona and do like verses and choruses, and that could
See,
take a while
that
Yeah.
could
to
take
whip
a while.
up a whole like.
For sure.
Yeah.
Just a
But-
few quick, lines that mean something to you.
Yeah, you'd be surprised at how
Oh,
challenging
yeah.
it was, though, even just to create 1 to 2 lines. Like
Mhm.
for and really it goes back to the sense that we're not tapping into that creative space on a regular basis.
Yeah.
What was your movie mantra?
Oh my gosh, it was. I would have to look back at it. It's I've been asked this a couple times in the recent month because I've been sharing about it. I can't remember exactly the words, but I remember how it felt.
Okay.
And so it just felt so powerful, empowered, and it really had me feeling like, wow, okay, I'm ready to dive into whatever's next.
Yeah.
So
Were they all like
Mm.
very serious and close to the person, or were some of them like kind of silly?
some of them were silly. There were raps, like, some of the people that you wouldn't really think would be rapping were rapping, and it was fun.
Cool.
But I do remember one of the retreaters more than mine, and I actually have been singing it the whole year. And it was just a couple words, like I believe it's like, I am love, embody my energy, I am me, I am free. But it's so beautiful, like the melody that she added to it, and it's so simple, but it's like when you sing it and when you have it move. I've been singing it all year.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool that somebody else's resonate with you.
Yes.
And it just kind of like made you feel good too.
I
And
remember-
then by you repeating it feels good. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Oh,
remember
man.
the retreaters more than I remember my own, because I was
Yeah.
just so into. I was like, yes, and I was filming all of
And
them.
it's got to be so
Oh,
cool,
so
like
good.
seeing these women who are coming to your retreat
Mm-hmm.
express and like allowing the medicine of the retreat to work, and you're seeing the healing. So you're going to remember those so much, and that's going to be the fulfilling moment for you.
Yes, the whole weekend for me. Like, I have to take a week off of everything after retreats, because there's so much joy that I experience throughout that, and like being able to hold that space for the women to do their work, because the ripple effect of that is like, so we impact thousands of people, because these women are all very powerful leaders themselves. They're influential in their own communities. So for them to go impact their communities, and their communities are going to impact people, it's so beautiful.
The ripple effect there.
The ripple
Yeah.
effect.
Now, do most of them come from Phoenix, or are they flying in from different cities all over?
Yeah, last year we had people fly in from other places as well in the U.S.
Okay.
Not other countries yet, but we're working on it.
Okay.
We had somebody from India yesterday reaching out and like, how can I come to your retreat in Sedona? And we're like, okay, let's figure it out.
Well, we have a really awesome location here, not only in Phoenix and just Arizona, but Sedona is like a gem of the world. It really is. And people are starting to resonate with that.
Yes.
I remember the first retreat that we did.
Yeah.
The first person to sign up was from Canada.
Wow. Yep.
She wasn't even a U.S. citizen.
Yep.
And I'm like, okay, yep,
We're
you're going to
doing
fly
it.
in, you're going to be here. We're doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's how I felt when I reached, with my coaching program, reached outside of the country. We've reached 2 countries now outside of the U.S., Canada being one of them, Poland being the other. And that's how I felt. I'm like, all right, I guess, yeah, let's do it. Like, sure, why not, And now we're international all of a sudden.
Yeah,
So great.
Yeah, so beautiful.
That's awesome. So when you say we do these retreats, is there a
Yeah.
group, or are you partnered with?
I love that question. No, it's just me. However, I see my business as its own spirit, So when I say we, it's like me and her. It's like, yeah. And that's very special to me. Like I believe that about conscious enterprise. And when I work with women in their businesses, I see them, and then I see their businesses. Their businesses have their own spirit. And so for me, like, my business is my boss, and I answer to her. I used to see it as my baby, like, oh, this is mine. Like, this is my business. And it's like, no, just kidding. Actually, I answer to her.
Wow.
That's powerful.
That is so much. Yes, you're so you're so close to that spirit, the intuition, that you really embody it,
Yes.
listen to it, follow it, surrender to it, let it guide you, and don't carry all that, basic mind concern. We we always plant so much to block ourselves, but you have just lowered the block down and lowered the wall down to let it flow through you.
I'm able
so
to
well.
get out of my own way in that way.
Yeah, that's that's the phrase. Yeah.
Yeah, because when I'm thinking it's mine, my creation, like, and then I can just do what's comfortable for me.
Yeah.
But we can't expand that way when we just do what's comfortable for ourselves.
Yeah.
And so I check in with her, every single day.
Like, it takes away so much to release that. I can just see with you how it takes away the fear. It takes away the concern.
Yep.
And the judgment.
Yeah.
And you don't really care about how it's, you don't have a concern about the judgment, because it's not something that I have done this. Look what I did.
Yes.
It's not that. It's flowing through you.
So much bigger than us.
So much bigger that you just bring it, and it is what it is.
Yeah.
It's really your intention just to start it, and then it creates a spirit of its own, and it kind of has its own mind, and every woman who's there, all the healing that takes place, it's like that collective will answer to what needs to be there. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah. And I believe, like, when we have a vision to bring a business into existence, I believe it's like this vision is like initially like touching source, like, you know, and then it chooses a human.
Yeah.
That's perfect for,
we feel the same way.
To bring it into life.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
You got that. That's exactly it.
Yeah.
So I got to show you that you said something really powerful, that your retreat business, even though it's you, you say we, because it's a spirit, it's us. Yeah. So this picture was taken at the top of Meditation Mountain at the peak of our Wachuma journey. And I feel like this here captures the spirit of Zenlife retreats so much, so much. And I'm not even in the picture.
Wow. Yep. So powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's my favorite moment from any of the retreats that we've done.
Wow. I'm loving it. And I'm loving the sun peeking through and the clouds and just
Show that to Sprout.
Oh, that's the one. Yeah, that's just this complete, the spirit connection, the surrendering, and just letting it flow through us and being together and not trying to like share all of our own like ideas and thoughts, and this is what I thought of, but so surrendered that when somebody else is sharing on their journey, we can fully pay attention to what they're doing. We can fully
be present
to hear them speak, to see their journey.
Yes.
And then wherever our response is, will just come naturally through intuition, but not thinking about it while they're sharing.
Yes.
It allows us to be in the moment, not trying to predict the next one.
Yes, totally, 100%. I love it. And and when I share about my business, people assume that I have like a whole team of like warriors behind me when I'm just talking about me and my conscious enterprise. Like, that's all. I'm like, it's just us. It's us. We're doing big things.
That's so beautiful.
Yeah.
I was wondering more about how you got to the space to be able to do that, how you got to the spot in your life that you can share those things, tap into the intuition, and have the faith and the confidence to let it flow that way. Was there retreats that you went to, or mentors that you worked with, or a journey you had to get you to that spot?
Yeah, I love this question because it's ultimately like so many things, right? I have mentors. I have books that I really love and read. Peta Kelly, Earth is Hiring, is one of them. I really love her work. But I have amazing friends who are mentors as well. Yeah. But for me, ultimately life, like experiencing life and doing life is the biggest teacher for me. Traveling and meeting people from all over the world and hearing their beliefs. And then for me, I've also had a very up close and personal relationship with death and mortality.
Oh, I got to hear about that.
Yeah.
So have I.
Yeah.
Same.
I went to my first funeral when I was probably 4 years old. And it was my mom's sister who had passed away. And then from there, my cousin, my best friend, passed away when I was 16, he was 17. He's my best friend. And then a year after, another cousin passed, so it was just like funeral after funeral after funeral, death after death. And so for me, being in that, walking the line in spirit, like spirit realm and physical realm, and just really understanding like this life, and we are here for a mission, and it seems as though very short, when we're here in the physical realm. But what it really showed me was that we each and every one of us individually have a very specific mission, to do while we're here in this human experience.
Yeah.
And so for me, if anything, that's my driving force, and that's what really keeps me what people would call motivated and going in the direction of my dreams.
It's just so awesome to hear you say that, because I feel the same way.
Yeah.
I mean, I am right in tune with what you're saying.
Yeah.
But it took me a lot longer to arrive there than it did you. So I knew that there's some things must have taken place in your life to get you there so much sooner than I arrived there. And so few your age are probably to that spot. But you had a lot of experiences. And like you were talking about in throughout your life, about people passing, that really brought you to that connection, to think about that, to have feelings, to see a bigger picture, and then to really then see more to life than just the physical world.
Yeah. And I believe every generation is like equipped with a specific level of consciousness, like like the Gen Z, like if you take a look at Gen Z, like the younger generation right now, they've got something figured out that not even I have figured out. They've got something special about them, and even the generation under them has got something, and all of it contributing to, I love that you guys are loving this. Each of it contributing to the bigger goal, which is ultimately the rise of the collective consciousness.
Yeah, so I got to interrupt you there. The reason we're loving this is last night we had a great talk. And we had, we did a little breath work right here. We had the setup just the way it is, and we kind of laid down, did our breath work. And I had the deepest experience where I was really kind of seeing, where we came from, physically, how we ended up here from our parents. Boom, they did that. But then that happened, and we traced the lineage all the way back to maybe like the first people, if you can kind of bear with me there. And we hit a sticking point of like, where did all this come from? Just we're really like deep in that journey, and we kind of synergized that. Maybe it's hard to put our finger on it, but regardless, there's this collective mind that we all are.
Yeah.
And we're all little data points where we're collecting data, we're having our journey. It's going back to the collective mind. And then the reason that Generation Z is smarter is because we, as the collective mind, break off. But now that collective mind that broke off has more data because we're having these experiences and journeys.
Yeah. See, it's each of us, like our journeys contribute, to the massive. And I think that's why there's so much of a sense of urgency for me to activate, like, for my clients. What I do as a business coach is help these women get their gifts out into the world. But, just as a mentor, or just what I do for women is just really create the sense of urgency, like, or remind them of the sense of urgency that it is to get their medicines out into the world.
Yeah.
That's what I'm seeing by you sharing your gift. You're inspiring them to share their gift.
Yes.
And having them lower down their walls, the resistance.
Let go of the fear, let go of the things that they're clinging on to. Because what I realize, and a lot of people have been telling me what you're saying, like, I feel like your journey is so accelerated. Like, I feel like you're here, but you're so young and all of this. And, what I realize is that we've all been awake our whole lives. We've all been this conscious our whole lives, but we've just been clinging on to things that keep us comfortable, and stories and beliefs and things about ourselves that keep us ultimately safe. You know,
safety is it.
Safety.
Then
we were talking about the ego. Safety and protection is where the ego comes in, and it's so good to have that ego because we love safety and protection.
Yes.
Until that safety and protection is just boring and no longer serving us, and we feel like we can't find a way out of it.
It works overtime, really. We activate our fight or flight response when we're in traffic, you know, or just when we're, you know, when we're driving from place to place. But it's there for a reason, and we love that, yes, but it works overtime. When it comes down to releasing our medicines, there's nothing unsafe about that. Right. But we tell ourselves it is unsafe. Yeah. So then our minds react. Our minds are going to give us all the cues and all the fears and all the things that we feel in that moment. But when we tell ourselves a different story, then we get to experience a different story.
Yeah, I see that I'm so kind of seeing the benefits of your workshops and your retreats, just to have that whole experience for the women to first of all really find themselves and really identify their gifts, ones they may have forgot about from their younger years.
Yes.
So to identify, really find it, feel their gifts, what they enjoy doing, they enjoy sharing, tap into it, discover it, and reconnect with it probably, and then the faith and the safe space, the comfort and the love and the confidence and just the security then to let that wall down, to begin to share it.
Yep. And you know, the biggest thing about retreats, and I'm sure you guys see this in your retreats yourself, is that we do the work, but one of the biggest impacts is just being in that room or in that home with a room full of women all weekend long, like seeing your triggers, seeing your mirrors everywhere. It's like, and then dropping those walls down with each other, you know, and I think that's the biggest thing, because what stops us is we fear the judgment of others, because we have this innate within us, this innate desire for connection, love, and belonging. And we don't allow ourselves to experience that because we're afraid of judgment.
Oh, that's it again. Yes. It's overtime protecting ourselves from that fear, judgment and that being hurt.
And rejection. And rejection. And so the retreats, what they do when we're in that space of women, we get to see each other in our humanness, which you don't see on Instagram. You don't see on the highlight reel. You know, we get to see each other in our messiness, you know, our light, but then also our darkness. And we get to see like, wow, okay, she's just like me. Like I've been putting her on this pedestal, but she's actually just human like me too. And there's nothing different about us besides our choices and the things that we choose to attach to and the stories we choose to tell ourselves. And from there, when the women let down their walls with each other, that's where the real transformation happens.
Yeah, that's the healing.
Yeah, that's the healing. That's the healing.
Oh, that's so good.
So good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They can keep doing that. Once they do it in that space, now they have done it once, and it gives them that positive feedback, how good it feels to do it. It allows them now, through that contact and those groups you can form, to do it again outside that group.
Yes. Yeah. It's the visceral experience of it, you know, and I believe in the universal law of attraction, the universal law of vibration. So they put themselves in that energy. They put themselves in that frequency experientially. You know, it's one thing to learn a concept, but to experience it is a whole nother level of consciousness, you know, and so they get to experience it. And so they know that they're safe. Yeah. They know that internally, like they don't even have to second guess it. And so the women who have attended to the retreat that I'm speaking of, you know, throughout their years, they have created so much from from what the retreat opened up for them. Wow. So powerful.
I can see it making them just more solid. This is me.
Yeah.
And just having more confidence in all they do with their, you know, friendships and relationships. They can just be more who they really are. And that they have that peace of mind that they're just sharing who they are.
Yep.
And not having so much fear about what comes back to them, you know, the judgment and the evaluation and stuff. They can just be themselves and really connect so much deeper with their friends or their partner or relationship.
Yes. Yeah, they now have the tools to be able to navigate, because it's not to say they're not going to experience the fear of judgment or fear of criticism, but now they have the tools to navigate through that, through those experiences, because life is always going to bring us those experiences where the ego is activated, where the ego is working overtime. And so how do you navigate those? And they get to experience that over the weekend.
That balance we're talking about last night with Dan and I were talking about how the ego is there, of course, to keep us, safe and protected, but also it's almost like the ego is the actions. We talk about manifestation. To manifest, of course, is going to be intent plus action to manifest. And we were kind of getting into how the intention could be more spirit-based, because you're tapping deep into your core, who you truly are, and sharing that gift that you have. That could be your intention to share that gift, but that now it takes action. And it takes ego to create the action. And then at some point in the future, once we release it and we have the faith, the surrender, and the release of it, at some point then the ball is like put in play through the action to bring that manifestation. But it takes that action of ego as well. So it's almost like a balance of both the spirit and the ego.
And I think it's definitely a balance of both. Like there's definitely a purpose for both, but oftentimes I feel like we get the ego confused with just our natural masculine qualities within ourselves, within all of us, even women alike. Like when we think of taking action, it's logistic, it's logical. And so, but the ego is also logical. And so, but that's natural within us to be logical. That's a quality that we carry within us to that's how we survive. And so to use that, it takes logic and it takes structure. And I think that's what a lot of the women are missing too, is the logistical side of things and the structure side of things, which is what we bring in the business coaching.
It takes to bring it from the ethereal into the physical. It takes some
structure.
Right. It was what we've been doing, me and Dan.
Grounding.
We had that connection, about a little over a year and a few months ago. We had that connection to source and to spirit, and we had these intuitions and feelings, and then we saw this picture in that celestial ethereal realm to create. But now it takes a whole lot of action, which is that proper balance of ego plus spirit to take the steps to bring it into the physical realm. It takes a lot of logic and reason and work to orchestrate and coordinate and make those things happen. And that balance is bringing now the manifestation.
And I think that's ultimately what we're here for. We get to be in this human experience to create whatever source wants us to create, all these ideas that originally stem from source, it's like we get to bring it into the physical realm through our human experience.
You are so in balance. I just look at you and I just hear you and look at you and just feel your spirit and see your aura. You're so balanced. You really have found that midpoint of the masculine, the feminine, the spirit, the ego, and so aligned. That just really is a beautiful thing now as an example of what is possible than to just be you, just be your balanced self. It can kind of go a little bit each way, as it does for all of us sometimes. But getting back to the center is a great example to share with others, just to be around you at a workshop or a retreat or as a coach. They'll just get so much from that experience. So they would be very fortunate ones to work with you and spend time with you.
Thank you. I would really chalk that up to just like really mastering my own medicine and really like self-awareness, because it wasn't always like that. Like I wasn't always this balanced and I wasn't always this aware either. But for me, it took a lot of practice and it took a lot of falling on my face. And I think that's what people are so afraid of, just failing, but for me, it took failing, it took being in those moments of actually doing things incorrectly. And so, it's for me to go through those experiences and mastering my medicine. I really get that is my gift to the world. That is my contribution to the world, and really discovering that for myself through the action, through practicing. That's what has me be in this space of just like this, like knowing, this inner knowing,
It almost feels like the first step is to get over the fear and the pain of a failure. And to move beyond that, to just do it, because the fear or the failure will be a learning. To help them take that first step and just go and say and share how you fell down. Hey, I fell down a few times. I had some of these experiences. Here's my experiences of things that didn't go the way I thought they would or I hoped they would. You can call it a failure, but it was also a learning experience. And here's what I learned from it. And here's how it took me to this next place. And that can really help them just get doing something, right?
I think so. I think we attach so much meaning to failure, and what does that mean about myself and my worthiness, you know? When ultimately it's like it actually is a story we're attaching to failure. And if we can just recreate that story that we attach to failure and know, like Brene Brown speaks to this a lot, is like, if you're in this arena and you're playing big, you're going to fail. Like, just expect that. You know, if you don't fail, like, you're not playing big enough. And so get that and then jump in. It's fun. It's great. Like, experience it. And when I really got that, like, wow, it's not so scary after all. Like, I've had quite a bit of failures in my business, you know, but each one of them has been such a blessing in the same breath as a failure. And what is an on paper failure is like an internal lesson. And I get to take that and run with it and create with it. And so it's not as scary as people make it out to be and the story they attach to it. Ultimately, like, I feel like most people attach failing or succeeding to their self-worth. And once we can detach that, like, we wake up worthy of love and belonging, everything we do in service is a bonus, is what we get to experience. We get to express our passions through that, but what we do in service is not attached to our self-worth.
That could be what we talk about. We talk about reducing or releasing some of our ego or our selfness. That could be letting the wall down. The whole journey of less ego or not so blocked by it, or releasing a bit of that, could actually be lowering down the wall of fear to, like, don't be so concerned about being hurt. Don't protect yourself so much that you do nothing. Release some of that. Open up the heart. Open up the spirit some. Let out some of the ego and the selfness and the protection to be open to being hurt. Open the heart to a potential, failure or potential heartache, which will be a lesson. And to have that come down first to begin moving forward and doing things and feeling things, feeling relationships and feeling friendships and feeling, just like it could be a girlfriend or a guy friend. Open up to deeper relationships or intimacy, just to lower that wall down, open the heart up, and to, like, open up to receive. Could be really just a beautiful first step. I see you doing that with these people, and they're going to just return to life or go back to the coaching with you and really transform, over a time to become who they really are.
Totally. And I love what you said about that, because it's like, the birthplace of heartbreak is like vulnerability, but that's the same birthplace of love and creativity and innovation, all the things that we want to get to. The birthplace of that is all vulnerability. It's being able to release those walls, like you were saying. And it's the same birthplace as heartbreak. And it's the same birthplace as, like, hurt and those things, the pain, that loss we experience. And in our human experience, it's the same place. And so we just have to be okay with it. And be okay to risk that, but ultimately know that we can't have love without, like, opening ourselves up to the possibility of heartbreak.
It takes one to have the other.
And you got to be okay with that. And, like, you navigate those through life. None of it's all a season. None of it's permanent.
It's almost like the yin yang we're talking about last night. We're talking about the pleasure, the pain, the happiness, and the sadness, and that balance of, like, the pressure release. Just that whole, yin yang balance about having both are there. And to experience both.
I'm not sure. What were we talking about last night?
All those things. We talked about all those concepts.
Sit in on your guys' conversations. Like, I wonder what those nighttime conversations sound like.
Last night was a pretty good one.
I love it.
You think we're kind of crazy. Like some of it didn't make much sense at all, even as we were speaking it. But
it felt right.
It feels good. So.
Yeah. Sometimes you just got to get those crazy thoughts out.
Yeah. It's just a whole conversation about balance.
Yeah.
Not going too far one way or the other.
Yeah.
If we're completely all in spirit.
Do we think we can raise the vibration of the planet, or is that even healthy? Because if we raise the vibration of the planet, neutrality always wins. Like there's a balance to the universe. There's a yin yang. There's an equilibrium that makes everything possible. Like if there was 51% yang and 49% yin, that would fuck up everything. Yeah. Everything would be thrown off.
You gotta have both.
There'd be nothing.
So it's
and somehow like we learned through the laws of karmic effect that what we do comes back to us. When we do good comes back. When we do bad comes back. And we learn like that to balance this equilibrium. So when people talk about raising the vibration, we want to empower people to have amazing experiences. Yeah. But it's almost in doing so, you make yourself vulnerable to low lows. But then you kind of learn. So the question was, is it possible to consistently raise the vibration of yourself, the planet, the solar system, and the universe?
Well, I think the planet's vibration is doing just fine. I think we have to match it. You know, like we can raise the vibration of the collective consciousness of human beings. And I think that's the idea, because I think the planet is like, she's like, we're good. You guys just match me over here and then we'll be all right. But the problem is the lack in consciousness.
And that's what we mean. That's kind of the inside story is we do mean, for
the people.
For the people.
Yeah.
Although we say the planet, we really mean people.
Yeah.
But it just sounds better to say planet than humanity or mankind or humankind.
Conscious collective.
Yeah. It just kind of like
collective.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
sure. It
sure.
just sounds better to say the planet, but we do mean, of course, the people on the planet to help them raise through their personal ascension, through their finding themselves and who their spirit really is, to touch into their spirit and really get in contact with that, then to lower the walls, to release the spirit and share their gifts.
Yeah, and I think ultimately, like, that's what we're all here for, and we're all doing it, and like everybody's on their own journey, and so I feel like everybody's in that space of doing their own work, and they all have their own, curriculum that of this lifetime. And then who knows after that,
Well, you're open to receive. That's what I love too about you and your presence too, is you have so much to share, but you're so open to receive. You're talking about like, one of your tribe, members there that you were sharing with, that when she shared her words and her melody that touched you, so you were open to receive it, and then by her sharing it, it actually was enjoyable for you then, because it really gave you something to hold on to and to like repeat that you enjoy as well. So the beauty of sharing, that she shared something that you enjoy.
Yeah, definitely. We all have something for each other, I think. And that's the beauty of like relationships and getting to do this human evolution experience side by side one another. We're all in it together, and it's all we're like on this, like, it's like hashtag same team, guys. Like we're all in it for a specific reason.
That's what we keep saying too, is we're so open to receive.
Yes.
And we're very open to hear input and comments with so many things. And like when we spend time with friends or family, we want to hear what they have to say. And it helps us so much. I was just thinking of how your brother with the with our labeling or packaging, he had some visions or ideas. And
he had some contributions, some visions and ideas that he threw out there that we were very rigid on what we thought. So what he said at the moment sounded preposterous and ridiculous. And we just sat with it, and we just didn't react, and we didn't brush it off. And mentally I did. I was like, why are we going to add silver to that? And we thought about it, and we saw like silver holographic on other labels. We're like, oh, that's actually a really good idea. Let's incorporate that silver.
And it turned into a DNA double helix.
Yeah.
Just like, well, what can be silver? Okay, well, it can be that, since you can create some kind of a, how it can stand out. That part can stand out. Maybe a different part can stand out too. But just being so open to receive and thinking, well, how could that be used, or how is that? How could that work in? How can we synergize that concept, that idea? And just by being constantly like yourself, just being open, not thinking we have all the answers or we're full of knowledge, but being more empty and having less knowledge, and even applied to food. We're talking about eating some dishes and not assuming we know how it tastes. Don't just think, I know what this is, I know how it tastes, but just release the
lasagna?
knowing. Yeah.
Okay.
Just release the knowing.
Do you want to tell Candy about the lasagna?
Oh man, so many flavors, just layers and layers of amazing flavors that Jason made for us, with the spices and the cashew cheese.
I was gonna say, is it vegan lasagna?
Yeah, vegan lasagna, and just like
there's hella vegan.
Oh man, there's so much there but we found ourselves, still talking and sharing as we ate it. Yeah. So you could get into the routine of going, oh man, and really love the first 2 bites because
there was cinnamon in the lasagna. It went so well with the tomato sauce.
Whoa.
Just imagine like tomato sauce and then a little bit of cinnamon.
Do we have leftovers?
And then it's sweet.
I think as far as I know, we ate it all.
It's gone. It's completely gone.
Dang.
Yeah. I think the next morning it was like for breakfast for some people. Like, this is.
I wish we had more of that to share.
Yeah.
That was some good stuff. And we don't typically eat like really good home cooked meals like that. Like we have a pretty basic diet with Sprouts' famous purple sweet potato soup.
It's the highlight.
It's really good. In fact, we're gonna go to Burning Man next year, and we're gonna call our camp Purple Soup. And everybody can come around for purple soup. And unlike soup camp that has no soup, there's a camp that's called soup camp that actually has no soup. It's really cool because they just make people wait in line the whole time. They think there's soup. There's a guy with a huge pot. He's stirring it. Everybody thinks there's soup. And the whole time they're just meeting people in line, having these amazing conversations.
Wow.
And they're not let down. In fact, they tell everybody, you got to go to soup camp. It has the best soup ever. And so people just wait in this line and just meet people and have these transformative experiences.
Yeah. And I'm sure it's amazing.
But we will have soup.
Yeah.
You will actually
have
soup.
We will.
Okay, yeah. I'll make sure I remember that.
Okay. Are you going to go?
Possibly. I don't know.
We'll see.
We'll see. I'm up for it.
But what a beautiful experience. The soup camp with no soup. The secret caveat there is the ones who run that camp are looking for who is in the moment and who is open to receive and communicate. So they look at the line of these people with their cups, because it's bring your own cup.
Yeah.
So everybody's in line, and they're looking to see, well, who is communicating, who's open, who's conversational, who is like taking in those around them. And the ones who are, they receive gifts.
Wow.
So they're treated. They actually get a treat.
Yeah.
By being in that moment.
Yeah.
And so it's just teaching us to not be so focused on what we're waiting for.
Yeah.
Don't be so focused on what we want, but be in the moment of what is the beauty right now around me.
There's so much for us in that moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's teaching people a lot. Indirectly, they're gonna realize it after the fact.
Yeah. Well, it's like there's no real destination. It's like just like the experience of it. We're waiting to arrive somewhere, but we've already arrived. So
this moment is the journey.
Yeah.
We're so anxious to get somewhere else.
Yeah.
Like, we're so anxious to receive that soup is the goal.
The destination, the goal.
That they block out the whole journey.
Yeah.
In the process.
Yeah.
And this is just so spiritual to.
Yeah. That's so powerful. That's such a powerful realization, like, because that's so many people, especially in creative and like entrepreneurship. People are like so focused on a goal or goals, filling these retreats, doing this, doing that next, and like forgetting to enjoy the experience.
Yeah.
I've been presencing myself to that a lot lately in my business because it's grown so rapidly. And like, I do have big dreams, and I'm a visionary. And so for me, I have to presence myself to just how far I've come and just honor that space. You know, like there will be time for whatever's supposed to happen next. I actually just celebrated a birthday this last week. And
happy birthday too.
Thank you.
I told you that on the Facebook or Instagram, but in person now, happy birthday.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. It was actually when we were at Naco together. That was my birthday.
That was your night.
Yeah.
That was your birthday night. That was November 12th.
Yes. So that's my birthday. And that's what I was presencing myself to on my birthday is like, wherever there is, you will get there. But wherever you are now, like you must be grateful for it. You know, that was my message from, if you would, my higher self, God, universe, you know, is like, you must be grateful for this experience right now, because just look around you. We're back there hanging out with Nako. He's singing me happy birthday.
Oh man.
Yeah. And I'm just like, just look.
That's so cool.
Just look, awesome. You know, at this experience, and you are right exactly where you need to be, you know? And then even just, I hung out with one of my favorite music artists. His name is Dutescut. He actually opened up for Nako last year. And just hanging out in that space, just knowing like, look at what you're attracting. Like, look at these experiences you're attracting. Honor this space that you're in and just be here. Be here with it. Forget about the goal for a second. Forget about the next thing for a moment in time. And so I love that message of like the soup camp and not actually having a destination and just seeing the people, how they react to that, because it's the moment here that we've already arrived to. We're waiting to arrive somewhere, but here we are.
That applies to so many things.
That's a highlight.
Yeah, that's it.
Highlight.
That was awesome.
Wow. That applies to so much in our lives too. Even applies to food. I remember how David was saying that he ate like 4 or 5 bites really fast because he was so focused on the goal of filling his hungry stomach that he didn't even taste 4 or 5 bites until we somehow brought it back in our discussion about how we can really slow down and really experience each bite and be in that moment of tasting it.
Yep.
And he's like, I realize now what I just did. I just ate all of this, half my portion almost, and didn't even remember how it tastes because I was so anxious to fill my empty stomach. I didn't even pay attention to those bites. And now we can really not rush to the goal, but just be in the moment and experience all the notes and the melody of that moment.
Yeah, so powerful.
We already arrived here, guys.
We're here.
We made it. All right, well, we're at about an hour, so we got some. Oh my gosh,
I love it.
Good.
How did that happen? How did that happen?
I don't know, but I do have a gift for Zenlife listeners.
Okay.
So I recently have been working on actually birthed this course. I can't say working on it. Like I literally had a birthing process experience. Well, I haven't had it in the physical experience yet, but what seemed to be a birthing process of this course. And it's Launch Your Conscious Coaching Program. So what it helps women do is like really go from having this idea, you know, that's touching source and bringing it into existence and creating this conscious coaching program into existence, and all the way from like the idea to the launch of it to the having a successful, profitable coaching program. This is for, you know, anybody who wants to create, you know, an actual valuable program for their clients, for the people that come see them, you know, whether it's like for readings, for meditations and things like that. Like, you know, a lot of my clients start out as, you know, spiritual practitioners, wellness practitioners. They're working with people one-on-one, but they're doing like thousands of one-on-ones when they could be just creating this really impactful coaching experience and seeing way less clients, but making such a bigger impact.
So more efficient way of sharing.
So much more efficient way of sharing. And so the course really helps them do that, from channeling their conscious enterprise to releasing their profitable coaching program. And so it's got six video workshops in it, guided meditations, so many good stuff, action items that they can follow through to fulfill on that experience, and for Zenlife listeners only, and it's available for the next 48 hours. I have it on my website for $333 for Zenlife listeners only. I wanted to gift you guys $111 off, so it'll be $222.
So cool.
Yeah.
We like that.
Yeah. Do you like the angel numbers?
Yeah.
Sprout likes it.
We do a lot of those. We were just talking about pricing of some products, for Ascend yesterday, and like all like,
all the angel numbers.
All the angel numbers. Like, okay, it's either 3 or 4 or 5 or something like this. Right?
Yeah. The Zenlife listeners will like that. We appreciate that.
Love it. Yeah. So you guys can find that on www.womanwarriorinU.com, and then just go to the website. You'll see the offering there, and you can use code Zenlife.
Awesome.
So
wow.
perfect.
Good job.
Created that just for you guys.
Hell yeah.
That's so awesome.
Get that. Go do that, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for
Take
sharing
advantage of that.
Yes.
Get the course.
Get the course.
Yeah. I thought it was like, wow, if I do 111 off, like it's 222, like the math. I'm like, course.
It makes sense.
It makes sense, but it's like so cool at the same time.
Yeah. Vortex math is so cool. We'll save that for next episode. Candy, it was awesome having you on.
Thanks for
so
having
good.
me, you
Thank
guys.
you.
It was a lot of fun being here and getting to share
you.
this conversation with you guys.
Yes.
Sweet.
We'll see you guys
Love
in
you
the
so
next
much.
episode.
See you guys. Thank you.